So my name is Estela Ballón. As she mentioned, I'm a faculty member in the Liberal Studies Department at Cal Poly Pomona. So thank you for having me here. I'm really happy to be on this campus. And the reason is that about 38 years ago, my high school counselor brought me here to this campus to show me a college. And the thing was that I was a senior in high school, but up to that point, no one had ever talked to me about going to college. And I really didn't even know what college was. I had no idea. So my high school counselor brought me here because she had come here. And, it was like another planet. I couldn't see myself here. And even though I only live I grew up about 25 minutes from here in East County, San Diego, it could easily have been a million miles away because everything about it was unfamiliar. And so, needless to say, I didn't come here, and I ended up starting in community college. That's a long story because, like I said, no one had ever talked to me about going to college before, and I didn't know anything about what college was. So anyways, I started in community college in East County, Grossmont College, and then I went to San Diego State, and then I ended up at UCLA. So anyways, that's my little story of this campus. So it's been 38 years since I've been here, and I just remember thinking that there was a lot of greenery and buildings that were just, really magnificent, and so I could never envision myself here, but here I am. So thank you. Let's see. Okay, so I want to be honest with you all that I have been doing service learning for about 10 years now, but honestly, I haven't read a lot about service learning, and this is only the second time I've come to the Campus Compact Conference, and so I've begun reading some service learning literature, and the first thing that I came across was a quote. And it says, a critical service learning pedagogy not only acknowledges the imbalance of power in the service relationship, but seeks to challenge the imbalance and redistribute power through the ways that service learning experiences are both planned and implemented. And that's the part that I'm interested in, the planning and the implementation. And so at my institution, which as I mentioned is Cal Poly Pomona, is in the city of Pomona, which is about 40 miles east of Los Angeles. And Pomona is an underserved and marginalized and stigmatized community. So our university mostly serves, as a Cal State, we mostly serve the surrounding communities, but our campus is made up of some lower middle, and working class students. So many of our students actually come from Pomona, but others come from a lot of the other communities in the area. So most of our students who don't come from Pomona mostly only know Pomona as the university, right? So they come to campus, and then they go back home to their home community. So they don't really engage in the city life of Pomona. They don't really know the city. I've asked them many times, I said, have you been in Pomona, like the rest of Pomona, not just campus? And usually the answer is no. So the question that I have posed is, how can instructors conceptualize service learning courses to incorporate the knowledge and experiences of students from the communities that are being served, learned from in the course? So if these communities are underserved, like Pomona, then they may already be stigmatized by the larger society and even the larger student body for the students that are coming from these communities. So they're going to have the stigma of saying that they come from Pomona because Pomona is not seen in a positive light. So they know the headlines: dangerous, drive-by shootings, prostitute alley, drug haven, homeless nuisance, poor people, right? So they internalize the social stigma, and coming from Pomona, and they even refer to themselves in disparaging ways. So they know the negative stereotypes, and so sometimes they actually vocalize them, say, "Oh, I'm from the ghetto, I'm from Pomona." They say it in a negative way, or "I'm from Gangtown." So at the same time, it's those very students that come from underserved communities like Pomona who are the experts in their communities, and so they have the firsthand knowledge and know their city in different ways, right? They know it beyond the headlines. So the students who grew up there, they know everyday life in their communities. They know the sound of kids playing in the park. They recognize the visions of mostly moms, dads, grandmas, tias walking down the street with umbrella, blocking the sun to go pick up their kids from school. They're familiar with the excitement of the late night stop of a quinceañera party with the quinceañera in a large satiny or sparkly purple dress, stopping at the taco shop that they know stays open till 3 o'clock in the morning. They recognize the colors of the fruit that the fruit vendor on the corner is selling, cups full of mangoes, watermelon, oranges with chili and lime on them. They know the honk of the horn of the roaming street vendor selling cups of corn with chile and lime and mouth-watering, fruit-filled paletas. So they know all of their communities, right? They know the city like most of us do not. They know the daily life that fills the space between the headlines. 1 minute, okay. Let's see. So more than likely, instructors such as myself do not come from or live in the communities being served, and we are deficient in our knowledge and experiences. So, and even though I myself come from an underserved and marginalized community, Pomona is not my community. I don't live there now. I work there, and my old community had different concerns than Pomona does now. So how can instructors provide students from those communities opportunities to be leaders in providing other students and instructors with multiple and broader ways of viewing and experiencing their communities? So just as a ending quote, so in order, again, going back to the quote that I started with, in order to redistribute power through the ways that service learning experiences are both planned and implemented, Varlada says, everyone's perspective, especially those of community members to whom power is potentially redistributed, must be accounted for and eventually integrated into the service experience. So my question is about how can we integrate students from those communities in terms of planning and carrying out the service. Thank you.